The bottom line is nobody is more committed to manned spaceflight, to human exploration of space than I am. But we've got to do it in a smart way. And we can't just keep on doing the same old things that we've been doing and thinking that somehow is going to get us to where we want to go.
Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your thumbs up. Just thank you for supporting this channel. So, y'all, I'm just asking, where is the Kingmaker in all of this? Joe Biden had a horrible debate with Donald Trump, and everybody was calling for him to step aside and let somebody else take the reins. And Joe Biden came out the next day and said, I ain't going nowhere. And so I don't think anybody can do anything with him. But the question is, where is our handsome, charismatic, elite President Obama? Where is he? Well, my guess would be that he's not far away. I think President Obama liked being president. And if he had been able to understand the office better, I don't believe he was ready to be president. I believe he had the intellectual ability, but I don't think he understood the country well enough. And he certainly didn't understand Black Americans well enough, because now when you would expect him to be out here talking to Black Americans and trying to convey the Democratic agenda to Black Americans, he seems to be missing in action. Although I don't think he's missing in action. I think he's operating behind the scenes. It's just that we don't know what direction the operation is going, so to speak. This is an article from Politico, and it says what Obama and Pelosi are doing about Biden. Two of the party's most prominent figures have served as sounding boards for people seeking to push the president aside. So they're listening to what people are saying, but it's doubtful to me that they are trying to push him aside. But we'll see. Two of the Democratic Party's most powerful and popular personalities have assumed quiet, behind-the-scenes roles as elements of the party maneuver to push President Joe Biden out of his faltering re-election bid. I couldn't find the date of this article, but I think it was written a few days after the debate. The elements trying to push him out include Hollywood icon and Democratic donor George Clooney, before the actor published his buzzy and brutal New York Times op-ed Wednesday calling on Biden to step aside as the presumptive nominee. George Clooney did make a compelling argument as to why Joe Biden should step aside and let somebody else take the lead. But he still has a lot of support. Joe Biden still has a lot of support. So that's why he hasn't stepped aside. And somehow he seemed to have gotten enough second wind to fight back. While Obama did not encourage or advise Clooney to say what he said, he also didn't object to it, according to the people who were in on the conversation between the two. The lack of pushback came despite the former president stepping out as one of the first big voices defending Biden following his abysmal debate performance last month. And even though some of President Obama's former aides have come out trying to get Biden to step aside, President Obama has not been vocal about asking him or saying that he thinks Joe Biden should step aside. I believe the main reason President Obama stayed in Washington after his term was up was to help Joe Biden, because Joe Biden has probably been slipping for some time. So President Obama is not going to come out against Biden. Whatever he says about the situation will probably be done in private, behind closed doors. And that's the classy way to do it. You don't come out and start talking about somebody in public that you've been close with or who has been your vice president. you do what you can do behind the scenes, because Joe Biden has shown nothing but defiance. So you would look kind of weird coming out here telling him he ought to step aside, and then he coming out saying, I ain't going nowhere. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, has been engaged in some more active maneuverings. She carefully ironed out what she wanted to say on Morning Joe the Wednesday after the debate, keeping Democratic leaders abreast of her intentions before she suggested on the program that Biden should quickly make a decision about whether he will step down. Well, he had already said he wasn't stepping down. So Nancy Pelosi is really concerned about trying to get a Democratic majority in the House of Representatives and keeping the majority in the Senate. So that's her goal. So she's advising the Democrats, especially the ones in swing districts, to do whatever they have to do to secure their own re-elections, even if it means asking Biden to relinquish his place atop the ticket. Self-preservation is everything. Well, apparently then Nancy Pelosi is doing the dirty work, where President Obama is behind the scenes either trying to convince Biden to step aside or to do whatever he can to rehabilitate him enough to get through this election cycle. It's a hard job. For Democrats who aren't in swing districts, Pelosi has encouraged them to take their pleas for Biden to step aside directly to the White House or to campaign so as to minimize public fighting. We're told that some have tried but have not been able to get through to the president. No, because he says he's running. And the thing about it is, the poll numbers for him haven't changed that much. So he's going to win some electoral votes. Now, whether or not he's going to beat Donald Trump remains to be seen. But he's in about as good a position as he was before that debate, according to the polls. As for President Obama, I believe he's being as good a political ally as you can be. Joe Biden is in a very precarious situation. A lot of his supporters, especially the big donors, the money people, want him to get out of the way, and they really want to pick somebody. I don't believe they want Kamala, but they want to pick somebody. But President Obama is, I believe, trying to do the best he can with Joe Biden. And the thing about Joe Biden is that he has been trying to be president for 35 or 40 years. And so now he finally got in. He beat Donald Trump. He says he's the only person that has beat Donald Trump in an election. That's true. And so he's going to ride it out. He's going to ride it out unless he just falls out on the trail. But anyway, President Obama is definitely on the scene. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's doing something. He's on the scene. So the Kingmaker is on his job, and he can't stand Donald Trump. President Obama can't stand Donald Trump. So the last thing he wants to see is Donald Trump back in that White House. Now, I truly believe that. And I believe that if there's any way that he can keep Joe Biden on his 2 feet to win, I believe President Obama will do that. But anyway, it seems like they're going to have to do it without any help from Michelle. But at some point, President Obama needs to come out and say something too, because he is working behind the scenes. That's what I think. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening, and have a good evening.